Right now, somewhere in your pocket, a small glass rectangle is waiting. You haven't looked at it in 9 minutes. Your hand is already moving toward it. You don't remember deciding to reach for it. That's the strange part. Most people assume this is a willpower problem. It's not. The real answer is far stranger, and it has almost nothing to do with the phone itself. It has to do with a pigeon. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner ran an experiment that would end up explaining your relationship with your phone 70 years before smartphones existed. He put pigeons in a box with a lever. Peg the lever, get a food pellet. Simple enough. But then he changed the rule. Instead of a pellet, every time the pigeons got a pellet at random intervals. Sometimes after 1 peck, sometimes after 20. The pigeons couldn't predict when the reward was coming. What happened next surprised even Skinner. The pigeons didn't peck less. They pecked more, obsessively, compulsively. Far more than the pigeons who got a reward every single time. Skinner called it a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. Your brain calls it Tuesday, because your phone runs on the exact same schedule. Sometimes you unlock it, and there's nothing. Sometimes there's a message, a like, a notification that makes your chest feel warm for half a second. You can never predict which one it will be. And that unpredictability isn't a flaw in the design. It is the design. Here's where it gets stranger. You might assume the good feeling comes when the reward arrives, the message, the like, the notification. But that's not actually when your brain lights up the most. In the 1990s, a neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz was studying dopamine activity, and he found something that reshaped how we understand desire itself. Dopamine doesn't spike mainly when you get the reward. It spikes mainly in the moment right before, in the gap of uncertainty, when you don't yet know if the reward is coming. The anticipation is the drug, not the payoff. Think about that for a second. The half second between pulling your phone from your pocket and the screen lighting up. That's not empty time. That's the peak. That's the part your attention system seems built to crave. Why would a gap of not knowing feel more compelling than an actual answer? Because uncertainty is a kind of open question, and your brain treats open questions as unfinished business. A psychologist named Bluma Zaganik noticed something similar back in the 1920s, watching waiters in a Vienna cafe. They could recall complicated, unpaid orders in perfect detail. But the moment a bill was paid, the memory of it dissolved almost instantly. An unresolved task stays lit up in your mind. A resolved one fades. Your phone, buzzing with something you haven't checked yet, is an unpaid bill that never gets settled because there's always another one arriving behind it. Now here's the twist almost nobody talks about. This isn't only about dopamine and prediction. It's about who your attention thinks is on the other end. Humans are deeply wired to track social signals, an idea the psychologist Robin Dunbar spent decades researching. He found that people tend to maintain a relatively small circle of relationships they can meaningfully keep up with, something in the range of 100 to 150 people. Beyond that circle, names and faces blur together. Inside it, every small signal matters. A message notification doesn't feel like noise. It feels like someone inside your circle reaching toward you. So when a notification appears, your attention doesn't process it as a stranger's marketing email or a distant acquaintance's vacation photo. It gets flagged the same way any signal from someone in your circle would get flagged. Someone is reaching out, someone wants a response. And ignoring that pull feels, in the moment, like ignoring a person standing right in front of you. Your phone connects you to thousands of people signaling at once, far more than any one circle was ever meant to hold. And your attention can no longer sort which signals are meaningful and which ones are just noise wearing a familiar shape. Is it any wonder you feel exhausted at the end of a scrolling session, even though you never physically moved? There's a researcher who spent years studying environments engineered around exactly this kind of unpredictable reward, long before smartphones existed. Natasha Schull, an anthropologist, spent over a decade studying slot machine design in Las Vegas. She found that the most successful machines weren't the ones with the biggest jackpots. They were the ones that kept players in what she called a machine zone, a trance-like state where the point wasn't winning anymore. The point was simply continuing. Players described it not as excitement, but as a kind of disappearing. Time didn't matter. Even losing didn't fully register. Only the next pull mattered. Sit with that phrase for a moment. The next pull mattered. Now think about the last time you scrolled past something you didn't care about, on your way to something you weren't even looking for. That's not weakness. That's the machine zone, running in your hand instead of a casino floor. None of this means you are broken or lazy or lacking discipline. It means you have an attention system that responds predictably to unpredictability, held in the hand of a piece of technology engineered by thousands of people whose entire job is to understand that system better than you understand it yourself. That is not a fair fight. It was never supposed to be a fair fight. So what do you do with an attention system like this? You can't out-willpower a system built by people who study willpower for a living. But you can change the terms of engagement. Turn off notifications that aren't from actual people you know. That single move removes most of the false alarms from your day. Put the phone in another room during focused work, not on silent beside you. Distance matters more than intention, because your attention reacts to the object's presence, not your resolve. And when you feel the pull to check, notice it as what it is. Not a message that matters, a pigeon in a box, pressing a lever, hoping this time is the time. Because here's the truth hiding underneath all of this. Your attention was shaped over a lifetime of small habits and reinforced patterns to treat uncertainty as urgent. That pattern works fine in a world where uncertainty is rare and mostly means something real. Now you live in a world manufacturing uncertainty on purpose every few seconds at a scale that pattern was never built to filter. Right now, somewhere in your pocket, a small glass rectangle is waiting again. And this time, when you feel your hand start to move toward it, you'll know exactly what's really reaching back.